Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.
I think every business owner has the responsibility to step up in their environment. I'm a piano rebuilder, tuner, mover, seller, and so that's my tool. So we always try to figure out a way that we can use our tool to help our environment. And Places it's bar none one of the most important entities in the city of St. Louis, especially with all of the strife we've been having with, racial issues and all of the political issues. There's so many people who are so amped up and so emotional right now. And I personally have turned to Places. I started that, and when COVID first came on, I jumped on board and started doing the over-the-phone therapy, and it's been amazing for me.
That is so great, and how good for you to tackle that stigma, to just own it and say, yeah, we all need this help.
Oh, it is so helpful,
I'm Sarah Fensky. This is St. Louis on the Air. And before we move on, I want to remind you that the biggest source of St. Louis Public Radio's funding comes from listeners like you. Because you value what you hear on St. Louis on the Air, donate today. Go to stlpr.org/donate. That's stlpr.org/donate.
Frosted window panes, candles gleaming inside, painted candy canes on a tree.
Last Saturday was a gorgeous December day along Cherokee Street. The sun was shining. The businesses along Antique Row were looking festive. Shop owners carefully handed out cookies to passersby. And right near Whisk Bakery sat a white van with a bright yellow piano inside it. Pianist and singer Alexandra Sinclair was inside too, warming up her fingers and those ivories with one bright tune after another. Alex offers what she and her collaborators have termed a pianogram. She works with Joe Jackson and his St. Louis-based business, Jackson Pianos. Now they've teamed up with gold standard musicians to put pianos and local musicians to work for a great cause. They've been building awareness and raising funds for Places for People. That's a local organization that helps people work through mental illness and substance use disorders.
So I started with Jackson Pianos about 3 years ago, and it was just kind of something that I knew would just develop into a great friendship with a great company. They, as a pianist, it was really important and really awesome to see that they loved pianos and loved everything about the piano as much as I did, and so I wanted to really dive in and kind of work with them and get to know the piano a little bit more. So I started with them as a volunteer technician, and then I kind of moved into different things. So Jackson Pianos runs lessons out of their shop as well, and I am the kind of the teacher and the coordinator for all the education and outreach that we do.
She used to play with Al Holliday when they were more busy with before COVID, and she's been playing. She's probably the most entertaining pianist in St. Louis, especially for pop songs, and she's got a great voice and has her own concert. And so she's more than just a van piano player.
And tell me your name.
My name's Rick Menendez.
Are you a pianist yourself?
No. I live about a block away.
Okay. Is this your first pianogram?
I guess it is.
Round yon virgin
Another person who stopped by Cherokee Street's Antique Row on Saturday was Chris Stalter. Chris actually works for Places for People, the organization that benefits from pianograms.
It's just amazing that Joe and Alex and Johanna have really spent their time to put this together to raise money for our organization, and it's just one of those things, and it's getting, like Joe always says, it's getting colder, and it's sort of that time where people start to think about others because of the holidays, and it's just an amazing thing that they're doing for us.
Jesus, Lord, at thy throne.
Johanna Ballou is the founder of Gold Standard Musicians and the co-founder of Pianograms. She's also one of the pianists directly involved in this project. They drive around the St. Louis region to spread cheer and awareness about Places for People. Johanna says the stops have been memorable.
We surprised a retired music teacher with a pianogram. Her daughter booked her a pianogram for her birthday. So she came out and was very surprised with a piano in her driveway in a van. And she was actually moved to tears when we played Happy Birthday for her. And she just, her whole face lit up, and it was so fun. And then we had a performance for a cul-de-sac. So there was one house in the cul-de-sac that booked a pianogram, and they had all their neighbors come out, and we all sat in the dead end, and they had lawn chairs kind of spread out. And I was able to play a little concert for the neighborhood. And it's so fun to share something lighthearted and just something. It's a release from all the stress and anxiety that we've all been feeling, and it just feels so good.
It's also doing good. Johanna Jones is a leader at Places for People. It's an organization devoted to improving people's lives, their physical, mental, and behavioral health.
This is really just a phenomenal effort by Jackson Pianos. For the third year in a row, they have stepped up to really plan, facilitate, dream into an existence, and amazing piano-based fundraiser for Places for People. And that just means so much to us. Our work and our existence and the people that we serve really depend on the entire community to create access for these services. So this family-based business really stepping up to the plate means a lot. And it helps us with our visibility, it helps us build partnerships, and also raises some money. And they're just great partners to work with, and we look forward to it every year.
What's not to love? Musicians getting gigs, people getting much needed help, and a big cup of cheer.
Wishes you and yours the same thing too.
And that is our producer, Evie Hemphill, reporting. And joining me now is Joe Jackson. He's the founder and owner of Jackson Pianos. Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So these pianogram performances, this is no simple feat. What goes into providing a piano and a performer on demand?
It's not easy. These are real acoustic pianos, so they're a good 500 pounds.
Oof.
They have to be tuned and prepped every time, and there's over 2,000 working parts in a piano, and it's under around 14 tons of pressure. So to get this onto a van and to drive it around, then unload it again late at night, it's a feat. But the feat is part of why we do it. It's if it were easy, if we sent out some keyboard, it wouldn't be so hard, and so it wouldn't denote how committed we are to the idea. And so the harder we make it, the better we feel, because every time we have to go through this labor of love and sweat as we dig this piano in and out, it concretes it for us even more, what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like an incredible amount of work that goes into delivering one of these pianograms. It makes me wonder, there's just no way this pencils out financially, is there?
Oh no, I mean, the goal, my wife, Morgan Cameron is my wife, and she is the one that came up with the pianogram idea originally, and she really is the motor behind all of these fundraisers we do. I'm kind of the one with the idea, and she kind of gets it going. No, if we... the goal is to generate more money than we spent on it. This year, that's not leveling out.
Oh, no.
But awareness is a big part of it. And I just want to take 1 second real quick and say, I really appreciated the piece you just did before us. And I was getting texts from people saying, boy, this is going to be hard to change these gears. But I don't think it is, because the piece that you just did was so emotional. And it's an example of what mental illness can do to people and the situations that it can create, and when people have strife and things that they deal with. And Places for People is the place to go. It is the way to stop angst from happening in our lives on the road. It's a great place for mental illness issues, medication, therapy, all of that kind of stuff. And I think it was really a powerful piece you did, and I really want to say thank you for it.
Well, Joe, thank you for that. That actually means a lot to me. And I'm very impressed the way you wove these two things together. I think you may have a future in being a public radio host here, because that was just exceptional there. Because yes, you're doing this to benefit Places for People. And this is something that's really important to you. What has made this issue of trying to help people who are dealing with substance abuse and mental illness, what makes that so important to you?
Well, we've always been, my wife and my family and I have always been very involved in our community across the board. Mm-hmm. We co-founded Pianos for People a long time ago, which we donated several hundred pianos to families around the St. Louis area. We've always been part of that kind of stuff. And my sister Bertie is a team leader at Places. And, years ago, she would talk about, all the emotional stuff that they do, and hearing the stories of the stuff that she was involved in. My wife and I were like, man, we have got to help. Mm-hmm. It's such an amazing group, and the things that they do for St. Louisans here is so powerful that as a business owner, I think every business owner has the responsibility to step up in their environment. Ours is a little weird because I'm not a plumber. If I was a plumber, I would be going to Places and fixing their plumbing for them. I'm a piano rebuilder, tuner, mover, seller. And so that's my tool. So we always try to figure out a way that we can use our tool to help our environment. And Places is just, it's bar none, one of the most important entities in the city of St. Louis, especially with all of the strife we've been having with, racial issues and all of the political issues. There's so many people who are so amped up and so emotional right now. And I personally have turned to Places. I started that, and when COVID first came on, I jumped on board and started doing the over-the-phone therapy, and it's been amazing for me.
That is so great, and how good for you to tackle that stigma, to just own it and say, yeah, we all need this help.
Oh, it is so helpful. As a business owner, one of the things I've learned a long time ago was catch something in the beginning and try to take care of it before it gets out of control. Mm-hmm. So when you're starting to feel dark, if the weather's bothering you, call Places now, get on one of their lists to get therapy, get help now before it overcomes you. So anyway, enough about the dark stuff.
Yeah, Joe, you keep making it dark here. We're trying to bring this back to the light.
Sorry.
But no, that is
cheer it up. I'm turning the Christmas lights on.
I think that's a really, really wonderful reminder. I'm really glad that you've done that little PSA there. And I do want to mention, in addition to helping Places for People and raising awareness about this issue that's so important, you are also helping musicians. They get $50 each for doing these shows. I imagine this year in particular, that's super important for these musicians.
Yeah, it is really a passion of ours that music is seen as a career in our city. It goes into a program that we have called Keys to the Community. And Keys to the Community is a program we've created that we've donated hundreds of pianos all over to families all over the city to help them get their musical careers going. Plus, we've donated pianos for free on my tab completely to bars and restaurants all over the city. So like Evangeline's and Sister Cities and coffee houses all over the city. And the agreement that we have with all these bars is we pay for it to get it fixed, we pay to move it in. Everything's on me. The only thing they have to do is pay living wages to piano players to perform live. No swapping beer and food for music. It's part of this idea that I get blowback all the time from people who think that music making and art isn't a career, but it is a career, and it's a career that we need to have vibrant in our city to keep things at pace, because we use music to help bring attention to places for people and to help relieve tension in the wintertime, and to help let people feel relaxed so they can open their mind to the other things that are out there in the world besides just nervousness and money and all this other stuff. Art is so incredibly important, and it's our life here. This is what we do.
I gotta say, I love that rule that you're giving these restaurants and bars when you give them pianos. How wonderful to do what you can to make sure musicians are getting what they deserve here. Even if they deserve far more than that, at least they're getting a small fraction of what they deserve. I'm curious, in this line of work, refurbishing these pianos, what kind of demand have you seen for pianos during this pandemic?
Huge. It's been out of control. When the shutdown happened, we went from 14 people to 3 people, myself, my wife, and 1 employee. We ran for like 6 weeks like that and slowly brought everybody on as we started getting air cleaners and scrubbers. And we work now Monday through Sunday, split shifts from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, basically, to keep everyone safe and separate from each other. But the demand has gone through the roof. We're rebuilding pianos all over, not just here, but we're delivering pianos to Wyoming and two in New Orleans this year. All over the country, we're rebuilding pianos and shipping them to California and Minnesota, everywhere. I mean, these are big jobs, but people are stuck at home. They're looking at their grandmother's piano and they're like, you know what? It's time. I've watched so much Netflix. I can't watch it. I can't watch any more Prime. I've got to do something with my body.
I know that feeling, man. That's great. Well, I'm glad you guys are there for that. And if people are wanting pianos, you can get it at Pianos for People. Joe, in our final minute here, I want to bring it back to the pianograms. You said it wasn't quite penciling out yet this year. Is there still enough time to reserve a pianogram performance if people want to take advantage of that?
Yes, go on to stlpianogram.com and you can see what spots are open still. Once again, that's stlpianogram.com. We have some spots still available. We'd love to get more people in there. I'm hoping to run for New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. I'd like to do shows all over the city that day and maybe even have 3 or 4 different piano players available. So when Johanna's worn out and Alex is worn out, we can load in some more and just run and bring joy all over the city and really have it as a successful thing. We also have some shows that will be around that people can wander by. We have Ethan Lewan, who's one of the best boogie woogie stomp players in the city of St. Louis. We're so lucky to have him here. He is really amazing. He's going to be in Tire Grove Park near the pond at 1 o'clock on the 27th for a 45-minute long show. And then in Lafayette Park on the 18th at 5 o'clock on the corner of Park and Mississippi, we're going to have the van there doing a little show. We're asking people to make sure to stay far away from each other, 6 feet. We're going to have amplifiers, so you don't have to get near.
And Joe, I'm going to have to cut in here, but those sound incredible. We're going to make sure to get that information on our website. That's stlpublicradio.org if people want to do one of these and catch some of these neighborhood concerts as well. So, Joe Jackson, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us, and let everyone know that they can text pianogram, one word, to 44-321 if they want to donate directly to Places for People.
Okay, and I'm going to go out of the show with a pianogram of our own. This is Alex Sinclair singing and playing Silent Night in a van on Cherokee Street.
The dawn of redeeming grace.
St. Louis on the Air is produced by Evie Hemphill, Lara Hamden, Emily Woodbury, and Alex Hoyer. The audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. That's 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening and have a happy weekend. I'm Sarah Fensky.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.